Lesa Diggs Moore, and I am from Alexandria, Virginia, born and raised, and in the Delray section. Um, the reason why I think this is so important is for definitely um, for my lineage to know the history of where I came from. Um, and if it's not spoken so that folks can really hear the heartfelt thoughts and memories, it can sometimes be lost in just reading in the words. So that's why I think this is so important to do. And one of my most memorable uh, things that I remember growing up in the Delray section back in the early 60s through mid 70s were the floods. And we had four floods that I've lived through. And to this very day, I can still smell the mud. Um, I can still see about the 2 feet of mud that we had to take shovels and shovel out of our home. Um, I remember the shots we had to get because we were in the water, which were always at such a young age, who likes shots? But the whole entire neighborhood had to get the shots. Um, I remember, and I just recently walked through the neighborhood just to see if still on the telephone poles, the spray painted line where the level of the floods were at certain times. I didn't see it, so I think they probably have new telephone poles. But, and I remember my dad specifically after the first flood, um, because what we had to do, we didn't know anything about it. We were young. Nobody told my dad that it flooded in the area. So when it flooded, we had a blow up swimming pool, and my dad put us, me and my brother and my sister in the swimming pool, and my mom and my dad. I remember my mom; she couldn't swim, hanging onto the swimming pool, as my dad pulled us through the water, and we were walking on top of cars, on top of fences, in order to get up to the McDonald's, which was at the top of the hill. Um, and so I remember that, and then after that, my dad said, I have to buy a rowboat. And I remember he saved and he saved to buy a rowboat so that we would always be able to get out of the house safely if it flooded again. And so, and I remember him going through the Mark Drive and Edison Street, getting folks who were stuck in their homes and rowing them up to the McDonald's where that was like the safe spot where the water wouldn't be so high. Um, but I distinctly remember that. I remember furniture in the front yards, cars in front yards. Um, so when I see these stories today of floods and in different areas, it takes me back to Mark Drive and what I know they have to go through to try to rebuild. But it did also bring in a sense of community in our neighborhood because we helped each other. We cleaned each other's houses. We helped as far as, watching the kids while families had to go buy furniture. It was such a different time than I think it is like now. And I do cherish that. So that's just one of the things that stuck out to me when I was asked to give a thought about some history here.